I've been asked why leaving a narcissist hurts so badly, even when you're the one who's called it quits. And essentially what happens is when you leave an abusive relationship, you've been in this relationship where your feelings have been numb for so long. You're not allowed to have any emotions because they're used against you, or you're told that they're wrong, or you're too sensitive, or whatever. You're just not allowed to have emotions, so you suppress them for so long that when you finally leave and you're in a safe place, you're finally free to vent them, and they all pour out and they come out in a rush. And it's very, very, very painful. But also because you're away from the chaos and drama of that relationship, and you're still for the first time. So you sort of have to face yourself and ask yourself the really hard questions, like, why did I stay when others wouldn't have? Why did they hurt me so much? Why is it the person I love has abused me? So it's a very confusing and very painful time. If you're like me, I was the one who called it quits. I started to realize that this relationship was not good enough for me. I was in fact putting my life in danger and risking that of my child. And eventually my head overruled my heart and realized that even though I loved him and I didn't want to leave him, and that really hurt, I had to, or I could end up being killed by him. And so that can be really painful, because I didn't leave I didn't leave the relationship. I didn't want to leave the relationship. I still loved him. I wanted us to be a family. I wanted that dream of this perfect future we had together to come true. And so although I made the decision to leave, it wasn't really my choice. And that really hurts. It hurts very badly. And throw on top of that the manipulative tactics that they normally use in the relationship, because now you've left them and they fear they're losing control. They're going to up the ante on those manipulative tactics and layer it on thick, and you feel even worse. You know, narcissists don't have empathy. They don't have an understanding of their actions. They just need to control another person to feel good about themselves. So you are their supply. And when they are losing that supply, they do everything they can to get that supply back, because if they can't, then their fears of abandonment and their fears that you've worked out who they are and they really are unlovable and not good enough, which is their deep-seated fear, has become true. And they don't want that, so they do everything they can. And so the level of hoovering you back and promising to change and telling you you're the only one for them, and you know, nobody's loved me like you have, and I need you more than ever, that will be ratcheted up to such a great degree that you'll just feel terrible, you know. And even though you've left, you start to feel more guilty about them. You worry about their pains and needs above your own. I was more worried about my ex than the thought of me now becoming a young single mother, which terrified me. So it's just crazy, you know. And so you feel really, really bad. And then if you've been dumped by them, when a narcissist is over you, what they've done is they've already lined up their next supply. So they cut you off, and that's it. And you might never even see them anymore. They no longer need you. You get discarded. And one minute, you know, you've been put on this pedestal and told you are the most perfect, only person for them. And the next minute you're dumped and discarded. And that really hurts as well. And worse, even worse, they've moved on to somebody else. And that might turn you into somebody you don't even recognize, because you think, well, they're all happy and loved up with this new person, and you've been rejected and discarded. And you might start to become this obsessive person you don't recognize, stalking them on social media, convincing yourself, well, they're so happy without you, so really it was your fault. You know, maybe they're only like that with you and nobody else, and you just feel terrible, you know. So neither way, leaving a narcissist, either way, whether you choose to leave them or whether they've dumped you, it's not easy and it's going to hurt. And it hurts really badly. But if you've left them, you need to just remember, don't be fooled by all these words that they're saying. Don't listen to them when they tell you they only need you. Yeah, their promises to change, they mean them at the time. But once they get their supply back, i.e. you, and they feel good about themselves again, they've got that control back, well, then it's game over. They will revert to their usual self and you will go back to being in pain all over again. So don't listen to it. Keep staying strong and just put one foot in front of the other and just keep going. You left for good reasons and those reasons still stand. And if they've dumped you, yes, it's really going to hurt, but don't be fooled into thinking that the next person they're with is different and that they are different with them, and therefore you should feel even worse about yourself and lower in self-esteem. They will repeat this pattern of abuse with somebody else, sadly, but that is what happens. Just tell yourself, thank God it's not me anymore. Because while they're with that next person, at least that abuse and manipulation is away from you. So in a way, they've made you go cold turkey, but you're better off. No contact. The less contact you have with them and the less you're exposed to their manipulative tactics, the better you are to be able to take your focus back and put it onto you, start to build your self-esteem and start to heal.